are watching and listening to the Satellite Trampoline 3 podcast with your hosts, Rich Clinton, Thom Tessandori, and Andy Makin. Join us as we discuss anything but politics.
Save me. I don't think I can save myself. Help me.
Yeah. So where were we? Oh yeah, that's right. I was on about so the mullet had come back. It's just that whole little hipster moment for blokes over here, especially the sort of last 10 years. I think now we get to see bands, especially trying to drag it back to music, seeing bands now that are unfettered, and yet I would imagine they're still, if there is a word, is fettered. They are unfettered by the what to wear nonsense. I think they just throw stuff on and go, and it seems very freeing, rather than my usual nonsense, which is, oh God, what black thing have I got to wear? And that'll do. Whereas, I mean, for instance, idols, just wearing anything you like and just looking cool because you feel cool, which is the essence of it when you were a kid. I guess, I if I describe the various outfits I wore as a young musician struggling manfully through that glam timeline, and also listening to Sepultura and things like that and Motorhead, and I, like you, were so grateful that grunge came along, because it was like, oh, I can wear combats and Dr. Martens, and I don't have to wash. Well, there we are. Brilliant. And I can just let my hair be long. It doesn't have to be a certain color or a certain way.
Bouffant.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Not that I ever did. It's just, but I was into, at that time when thinking about glam metal, one of the big reliefs of glam metal was, and also the ending of it, was Guns N' Roses. People forget that. It wasn't necessarily grunge that killed them off. Grunge was a death knell. But I think when you had Guns N' Roses coming out with a much more Stones authenticity to them, so there was a dirtiness, there was a sleaziness to them, and then that whole sort of sleaze byproduct of glam. So over here you had bands like the Choir Boys and Dogs D'Amour. It was all a little bit more akin to a Motorhead than a Motley Crue,
Yeah, they're more of just a rock band, opposed to whatever happened in the 80s with the whole, I get it at first. I think with bands like Poison and Warrant was a little late in the game, but especially Poison.
Yeah.
I remember going with my buddy Ron to the record store and seeing that album cover and him arguing with me that those were chicks. I'm like, no.
Is this
those are guys?
Look what the cat dragged in. Is it that one?
Yeah.
Corner of the album. Yeah. I'd have done every single one of them. They were gorgeous. But they also, as you rightly say, they also look like girls I would like to date at that time.
Right.
Yeah.
Rock chicks, that's what they looked like, and the sort of definitive rock chick of that time was Bret Michaels, which is the odd thing.
Kind of,
Right. But the funny thing is it's more of a nod to New York Dolls or Bowie, going all the way back to the early 70s, which kind of I missed. When I came online with music, we were in like 78 or something. So you got your Bad Company and Zeppelin at the very end, Sabbath, and was still around at the very end of the Ozzy era. Boston was huge. So it changed the whole glam thing came on later on, especially with even learning about Slade and T-Rex and the Dolls and I was very influenced by that later on. I still really like that style of music.
Yeah.
But that look, it just popped out of the ground. To me, all of a sudden, it's like, I don't understand why they're doing this. It's just a strange, overblown thing,
Yeah.
Well,
even the term glam metal.
Yeah, well, back to last week's episodes, one of the things that missed me on the front end was punk because I was so
Yeah,
involved in music, I just didn't get it at all.
I know.
And it's like the older I got, the more I resonated with not necessarily being good at your instruments, not caring about what you wore, just like songs like "Let's Listen to the Landlord" or Dead Kennedys made a lot more sense to me in my 30s and my
Yeah.
40s than it did the first time around. But I also grew up in Eugene, heavily religious, and a place where there was a haven for anarchists. So it was a weird mixture. It's strange tension, strange psychological thing occurring. But I missed that the first time around, and I think I just have a different appreciation for it. It was
Yeah.
because talk about being of your time. Could you be Black Flag again?
Oh yeah,
No.
right. You know.
No.
Probably not.
We spoke a little bit of that last time we got
Yeah.
together was the fact that um, it would be very hard to do anything original now because you're so informed by half a century or more of music. I mean,
Yeah.
especially if you consider that, and it's an arguing point, of course, that rock and roll started in 1955 with Elvis. It's like we know that's whatever. Um, and how much changed in if you 10 years even you make that jump from rockabilly and then you by 1970 and you've already had Hendrix and you've got Sabbath and you've got Zeppelin and we're moving on through this in 2025. I have not heard anything that I would consider to be I've never heard that before. I don't know what it is in at least 25 years. I couldn't. Yes, people have made great music. Yes, people have come up with some interesting ideas, but it's all on the shoulders of somebody else that's already propped them up. That's already been there. It's just nobody's come up with any, and I don't know if you can. I don't. I think the only way you possibly could, and this is just off the top of my head, you'd have to be some guy that just wandered in and out of the woods that has never. You'd have to be Encino Man, for God's
Yeah.
sake. You'd have to just come out of nothing and not be informed by anything and just and put you and then separate that person and keep them away from everybody and give them some sort of way to be creative and see what comes of it.
And also get hit over the head at the correct time culturally for them that made that particular type of music otherworldly to them.
Yeah.
We've got to remember that
Right.
those times that we went through there with those decades, culturally, so many fucking ridiculously massive things happened in each decade, and music was there, commentating on it, opinionizing on it, and also embellishing it. And we have in that media that came along, which it's another form of art that not only makes the movement happen, but also can not just be a catalyst, but also be a commentator on it. That's what we've got. I think to your point of, say, the last 25 years, nothing else has really, although there's been some amazing music, it has been of a stage, a derivative. I think I'm still amazed that after all this time I can get gut punched by a band, and it's taken a long time this time, but I mentioned it before, Idols, when I first heard them, they gut punched me because there was an authenticity to it.
Right.
And I think that in itself is enough to get me these days. Is if I could smell the authenticity of it, then it's okay. Then I'll listen. It might not be in my bag, but at least I can respect it. And then when Crawler came out, I thought, oh, fucking hell, they're just so bloody good. Because it's unrestrained by, the only restraint they have is their imagination. And I fucking love that.
I do.
That's I mean, for me, they're like Pink Floyd in that regard, because it's just imagination. It's just, well, I want to do this. Let's try and explore this. What happens when we do that? And as their authenticity comes across to me, because they also do it in the same room.
Yeah.
He'll write lyrics on the mic.
They are a rock band. For all intents and
Absolutely.
purposes,
Yeah.
they are a rock band.
Yeah.
And they get together with those guys in a room and they come up with this without, I think I think we do have a freeing moment with being a musician now. I don't think there's as much uh, societal peer pressure to constrain you. When we were growing up, it's like, oh no, you are a middle class white kid from the West Coast. You're going to play this music. You can't
Yeah,
play that music. That's other
yeah,
people's music. That music over there is other people. Those people that live in the mountains, that's their music. So, and you're not, that's not yours. And you will get ostracized if you decide to put your toe in that creek.
yeah.
So I don't think that exists anymore. If it
No,
does, I don't know, I feel even us writing music, even though it kind of, it was a little bit more uh, a natural path when you get older and finally say, fuck it, I don't give a fuck if anybody cares. Why? How's it going to affect me negatively if somebody points their finger and says, I don't like it? And it's like,
no.
oh well, don't listen to it. But I don't see that. Same thing we were talking about fashion, people having the mullets and the mustaches. I don't think not going to school and people going, yeah, you can't do that. I think they're much
Yeah,
more open.
yeah, I agree. It's
So does that put constraint on creativity, though? I mean, if it's so wide open, you can do anything you want. Does that just, it's almost like the fear of a blank page, right? Isn't
yeah.
the hardest thing to start a story is actually the first word that you put on paper? You know,
Or the counter argument to that is the alphabet so massive now that not only can you write anything you like, but you can think anything you like, and you can do it from there. I think having it all wide open, I think we see it as a generalization, but the bottom line is we're still restrained by ourselves. Our
Oh,
ceiling
sure.
and our world
Mhm.
is still relatively small unless we sort of expanded ourselves. And I think even though the internet, social media gives us the illusion of a much smaller planet, the bottom line is it's still, if you're trying to be creative and it's just you in a room, it's just you in a room, and you've either got have enough of a musical alphabet to get out of your own way or the knowledge to get out of your own way. And if you
Mhm.
can't do either of those things, then yes, you do have a ceiling that you have to try and break through. And I think that doesn't matter whether it's back in the 80s when I was first writing stuff or when it's now and it's my son trying to write stuff. I hear him riffing and he writes to the limit of how much he can play,
Right.
and
Sure.
then he'll go a little bit further than that. And so his playing will improve because the writing has forced it, which is how I've got better over the years. It's got nothing to do with being good at it. It's just that I thought something up and I couldn't play it.
Yeah.
So now I've got to work out how to bloody play it,
Right.
and then I can record it and give it to somebody else who could probably do it much better than me. But up
Yeah.
until that point, I had to, step over that, and I think that's still true today. I do. I think, especially my argument was, well, you got YouTube now, so just learn the piano. It's bloody easy. Everyone can do it now. Look, it's all on the
Right.
telly. It's on the telly. Look, it's on the telly. What's wrong with you? It's it's not constructive educational work
No.
that's
No.
going on there. It's you know it's not sectioned out where you learn this much and then you just practice and practice and practice and the next stage is this and slow steps, etc. It's just here's this and here's this and here's this and here's this and here's this, and like option paralysis.
Yeah.
And unless you're a really focused student these days, I think it's as bloody hard. I do, because you've got so much noise on you, you know whereas we were free to fuck up and find our voice perhaps a little sooner because we were a product of our influences and there were only so many influences we could get. So, your voice
Yeah.
started to come through pretty quickly, right?
Well, sure.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, that I think that is a problem. That it's just too much,
Yeah.
and how do you just kind of whittle back the noise to be able to focus? I mean, focus is now that's a completely a new issue that we have as far as being able to focus. I love it when people are learning how to play the guitar. We have friends, younger people that are learning and, they'll ask questions. It's like, yeah, this is what I wish I had when I was younger. It's like, somebody that I could say, how do you do this?
Yeah.
Because if it's right in front of you, it's, yeah, it's a whole different, but it's to expand on what you're saying, it's just, yeah, I don't, just because it's available doesn't necessarily, you still have to be able to focus and put yourself down and into a position to be able to get that. Plus, you got everything else just dinging all the. Imagine like it's just bells and
Ah,
whistles and shit going on all the time, man. It's like, and the next video is right there. You can
yeah,
jump ahead and jump
yeah,
back and jump around. It's like that puts a lot of onus on you being able to um, just hyper focus.
yeah,
Yeah, new way of focusing, I suppose.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So in a way, not having those distractions was a huge blessing for us
I
Yeah.
think so.
because you had to be passionate about it to be able to sit down and learn it, get with your friends. I mean, I remember riding my bus with a bass amp that I could barely pick up, and I remember like the bus driver was like, "You really gonna bring that on?"
You're all, hell yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm
did the
gonna
same
try.
thing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the thing, isn't it? We did have, well, I mean, that's where your ear training comes as well. It's like figuring out
Yeah.
that, oh, fuck, this record I've been listening to and trying to get right has been sped up slightly when they recorded it. And so now I've got to tune my guitar to A440 plus a bit and change,
Right. Right.
just to get it into tune because my ear's telling me it's out now. And now I'm hitting this and that's out. And just that sort of stuff over and over, practicing stuff and your ear getting better without you realizing it, knowing that sounds right, that sounds wrong. It's an education in audio all by itself. And then you hit a band and now, we've all got that because we've all come up the same way. Whereas I think, I don't want to sound like, old man shouting at clouds. I think everyone's got it better when it comes to information. I do think that. And I think if I want to fix the bloody thing on my car, like the inside the filter inside my car. Remember, I looked it up and went, "Oh, it's there, okay," because I didn't have a manual. It was like a third-hand car. It was really old and knackered.
Right.
But I went online and some bloke in Swindon had done it 3 years ago and had 450 views. And I went and looked at it and did it. That sort of stuff I think is fantastic. I think
Yeah.
that's what the
Yeah.
internet's brilliant for. Is that I don't have to do that. Well, look it up. Some pillock online's done it. But it's also, like you say, the option paralysis of it. Just going on something completely knobbish is I've been playing Elden Ring. In fact, all of my kids are playing Elden Ring. And I'm on my new game +3 or whatever it is. I like Souls games. And anyway, now and again, as Souls games are, you have to look up on the internet what to do next because they never tell you. And you look up on the internet, what do I do? And there's like 15, 16 different videos of the same fucking thing telling you how to play. And it's literally just, it's the same thing. It's just this option paralysis that you get. It's, well, fuck, I don't know. I'll look at that video and that one, and they're arguing with each other. No, that's not the right way. This is the right way. And that's the other thing with, I don't know if you look at YouTube and look at the reviews of stuff, especially music stuff. I mean, I'm addicted to gear stuff. I like
Yeah,
looking
me
at
too.
it.
Oh,
Right.
sure.
And the ones that are, this video is sponsored by, but I got this myself and I'm using it myself, but I am sponsored by them. But I'm just, anyway,
Right.
shock and horror. The fucking amp's amazing. Is it
Right.
really? Well, good. Fuck's sake, but yeah, some of that it's, and I watch all of that stuff. I watch, the pedal show and
Oh, I do too. Yeah. And Andy's pick of the week and all that guy that
yeah,
um I think one of the things that's missing is we didn't have anything else. So not internet aside, you got everything a little bit at a time. So when I picked up the guitar, it's like, what drove me to want to learn how to play guitar? What else was I gonna do? There was no TV hardly to watch, barely any video games.
yeah,
What are you gonna do? So, I mean, to be able to focus on something, I don't think it demanded as much focus as you have to have now because there was no noise. It was it's not only did you want to do it, it was like, what else are you gonna do?
yeah,
Especially ride your bicycle around, I mean, our options were very limited. So you could put in 1,000 hours into learning how to play guitar pretty easily because those 1,000 hours were available, and I
yeah,
think now it's just kind of whittled away with everything else and all the noise. My kids are the same way. It's like they are online 24 hours a day,
Mhm.
and they play video games every waking hour. And personally, I can't do that. I get bored with it. I have to walk away with it within like 45 minutes, and I got to go find something else to do. Yeah, mostly outside, wandering around, staring at the ground or something. But the fact that they don't get bored with that just
Yeah,
is a puzzlement to me.
yeah.
But I didn't grow up with that. It's like to me, there's something if I don't go out and do something, I'm not living life, and this is pulling me away from something else. And so,
Yeah, I get the guilt when I play the Souls games. I started playing them in lockdown. I started playing Bloodborne in lockdown because my wife was teaching from home. My kids were learning from home. So Jess was teaching classes in one room, and I was in the other room. And it was just, well, I'll supply drinks and stuff, whatever they need. And aside from that, what am I going to do? Well, I can't play guitar. I hate playing. I hate headphones with guitar. I just
yeah.
I hate it. But headphones are gaming, fine. So I put Bloodborne on and I played Bloodborne. And so that was okay. But since lockdown, I mean, I play the games now and again, but if I'm gonna those sort of games as well, you can't sort of dip into. You sort of really got to sort of commit to them. But every time I do, there is a huge pull of guilt, which is playing a game. Where's the guitar? And it's really those two things, really, that are pulling me more than anything else. You're just
Yeah.
playing a game, even though I mean, my first gaming experiences were on my Amstrad CPC 464 with the tape deck attached to it, and waiting a good half a day for the first side to load. So I've always been a gamer, but
Mhm.
yeah, that I I get what you're saying. I am the same in that regard. When it comes to playing a game, I'll be a certain time in it, and then it's like I've got to play guitar. I've got to play guitar. I must.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I really don't.
No,
What
no.
what I'm missing is I
I
have
got my copy of Driver. I got my copy of Driver because
yeah.
you had Driver
Right.
on the
No, I still play
PlayStation.
games. I
Yeah,
play games, and I always will. I've always played games,
yeah,
video games since I had a ColecoVision when they came out back in the day. So,
yeah.
um, and all the Atari games with my uncle in there. So, but the fact that, um, the thing that I'm afraid of is like if they don't latch onto something that's actually, tactile and you meet people. We've talked about this before that
Yeah.
we all know each other because of music. We all know each other for
Right.
ever now, and have grown a bond and it's family and um we would not have that would have happened if we wouldn't have picked up an instrument and actually put the time into it and got to a level where you're like it's like leveling up in a game, right? It's like, oh, I'm level up now. I can play with these people and I can play with these people. If we hadn't put in our woodshed time, me and Tom, and got our band to a certain level, we would have never met you because why would you give us the time of day if you heard our stuff and said, yeah, you know? I mean,
Mm.
so I that's what I'm afraid is they're gonna miss is the fact that it's got to be some way that you're gonna attach to people that in a very real way, and speaking and doing things together and creating and everything else because it can make your life you know something wonderful.
Yeah.
There's definitely a human and tribal element to it too, because the flip side to that is they're just going to experience it in their own way. So one of the things that I noticed when we got Henry's Child back together in 2014 with that iteration was the fact that what a good show was had changed. So now we have competition with Netflix, Xbox, all this other stuff that's taking people away. When in the 90s, they just had to show up and people would go to the same club every night, no matter who was playing. So it's definitely a different thing. And so that's morphed itself too. Even Portland, where I live, 200 people on a Tuesday night is considered like a knockdown, amazing show. And that's just how they measure it.
Wow.
Just to get people out. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they have to want to go out. It's not like I have nothing else to do. I'm going to go do this because what else am I going to do? I can get drunk and listen to live music. That's how it was in the
saying that,
90s.
mind saying that, and I do have faith in the youth, and I'll tell you why. There was an example of this. Guthrie Trapp, the guitar player.
Yeah.
Guthrie Trapp. Yeah. Well, it was a short on YouTube, I think it was, where he'd gone to get some gas, I think, and this was like about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night. And he heard this music. So he just wandered down the street, seeing where this music was coming from. And it was kids playing in a car lot, just set up metal. And they had about 30, 40 kids around them, all headbanging and playing. And they weren't filming it. It wasn't for public consumption. They just set up and they fucking rocked. And they were about 15, 16, that's that sort of age. And he was saying how much it had restored his faith. You know, it's still there. It's still beating. It's just not for us. We don't see it. This is how it should be, and just the energy of that band. And they were kicking ass, man. They were really good in a all or nothing kind of way, right?
Yeah.
That complete sort of pirate attitude kind of thing. It was just full on and demented and fantastic. And their group of friends of their fans, which I'm sure helped carry all the stuff to that car lot and just went for it. They were just jumping up and down, and it just looked fantastic. And it looked like something that was being filmed, but it wasn't. It was just the power of that moment, right?
So cool.
Yeah,
that's beautiful, and I think it still does exist. I just think that and I think it's novel to kids now. We grew up with it. It's like music was around us. We saw people playing music live out, and that's you go to church, people playing music. So that was something that was around us all the time. But now for some to see a group of teenagers picking up the instruments, I imagine it's a novel thing, and they're kind of been so separated. I mean, if you're 15 years old.
You were born in 2010.
Yeah, I mean,
what's wrong with you?
The internet, everything was always part of, your world.
By 2010, the iPad had come out. So kids, wow.
Yeah.
But that's funny, Andy, that you mentioned that, because that's totally some shit that I would do in high school.
Yeah, totally.
Not even high school, middle school.
Yeah.
I remember like finding the extension cord of the one plug that was outside in the parking lot, like plugging in two PVs.
There you go. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that's the real shit right there.
It is.
Yeah.
Because I was talking to Simon Hannah, an old friend of mine. I spoke to him a couple of days back, and we were talking about the same sort of thing. And I said I threw this at him, which was my idea. If I was in a young band now, I would have the policy of it's not for you, it's just for us. It's not for you, it's just for us. We'd have one website. It would just have a date, and we'd do a poster, and it'd just be a venue. And then you either show up or you don't. There are no phones. There is no social media. You do not talk about this band. It is completely tape trading ethos. You do not. If you do, you're out. That's it. Tough shit, right? So if you're coming, you put your name on that website, and you turn up, you turn up. If you don't, tough. And the band's not there for anything other than just to be with each other and play. So if there's a crowd there, then great. And then they just play. And that's how they gig every single time. Some small venue somewhere that they can find. And it's not for you. It's just for us.
Yeah.
No merch, no t-shirts, no socials, nothing. And that's how you find your tribe and just get the room bigger and bigger each time the crowd gets bigger. I'm sure it would work, man. I just love the idea of it.
It reminds me of a restaurant. Those kind of pop-up restaurants. The exclusive. It's like there's a restaurant in the basement of that nobody knows about that's serving 5-star courses. And you have to know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody, and they may let you in if you know the password. Kind of thing.
Yeah, that's the only way you're in.
Yeah, it's a Fight Club restaurant around music.
That's it. Exactly that. Exactly that. The first rule of whatever music venture we're doing is don't mention the music venture we're doing.
Cover your nuts.
Yeah, I can get that more pithy.
Can you?
Yeah, I'm sure. But yeah, I just love the idea of that, and I think it's happening anyway.
I think so.
I was in where was I? I was in Camden in London. I was helping a friend deliver some dummy 412s for Bullet for My Valentine. Which is just a bizarre story in itself. But I was walking through Camden and there was a band playing on the street. And yes, they had a hat down for people to chuck coins in, but they were doing it for the rehearsal. They literally were doing it for the rehearsal because obviously I can't imagine what rehearsal rooms are like in London.
Yeah.
And the space and whether you could get them or not. So these guys busked. And they were like a funk fusion band. If I find a link, I've seen them on YouTube. I'll send it to you. They are as tight as a duck's arse. They are so good. Like a kind of Corey Wong kind of funk, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh,
Sure.
cool.
Yeah, really fucking good. We're going to play this on the street instrument rather than their nice stuff. So the drums, but everything was tuned beautifully and they were just fucking great, man. And I was thinking, yeah, they're there. They're not there to earn money or, that. It's really rehearsal. Where else are they playing? Because my God, they're good.
Yeah.
It's still out there. It's definitely still out there. It's just, I don't think we see it. We're old bastards now, aren't we?
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to be out in it, and I think in a place like London, that's where you would see it. I'm sure you see it in New York, and I'm sure you'd see it, in LA or the larger cities here.
Yeah.
But even speaking, we have a kid that's been coming in and playing guitar with us a bit, named Danny, and he's 20, and it's interesting, to see his take. And I need to talk to him more about even how he got into the whole playing guitar, and I know church was a big part of it with him and Doug, which is a completely different. The church that me and Tom grew up in is not the church that they have now. They made a hard pivot at some point in time and said we're gonna do things differently, and with the worship bands, half the gear reviews that I see on YouTube are people talking about
Yeah.
worship music and
It's very different.
the fact that somebody's playing a Bogner at church, it's like, okay, well, God bless you, because even having an electric guitar when I was young was bordering
That's
on
funny.
satanic.
That's funny.
So,
Yeah, we don't really have that here. We've never had. We have churches, believe me, they're quite old,
yeah.
but we don't have.
Shane?
I guess we do. I guess we do have church, the worship thing in
Mhm.
the sort of major cities, but it's not really a thing here. But yeah, every time we look on YouTube at stuff, if it's across the pond, then there'll be some sort of church reference, especially the Kemper stuff and the profiling
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
because
yeah.
it's so essential in that world.
I just thought it was strange. I mean, when the big jump that I remember was when, you started having Christian rock like Stryper, and you could go to what we had a chain here called the Berean Bookstore, and it was the Christian bookstore. And you could listen to the music and then give samples on the cassettes so you could pick out what you like. Um, that's when there started being a change in it's funny that this even existed, but there's like an early version of karaoke and when I was going to church, and especially in the late 70s or 80s, where you could go to these bookstores and they would have the songs and it would just be the instrumental version of it, and they would pop it in the tape player, and sister
Wow.
whoever would get up and sing with the tape. And that's how a lot of these churches
Yeah,
did it
she
back.
would.
Yeah. Yes, she
It was the Aunt Gertrude that we were
yeah.
talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Really
Sister
angry
Ozzy would
singing.
get up.
Yeah, Nana Ozzy, here she is.
Aunt Ozzy.
Yeah, it's funny though, isn't it? We've come that far now where the people that we were influenced by are very old.
Yes.
When it comes to how we perceived them when we were kids, coming up. I mean, like all the Maiden guys are in their 60s, I mean, Nico's just retired, he was in his 70s. And then you've got Sabbath that are all well in their 70s, the Who well in their 70s. What's his name? He's 80 now, isn't he? So
Yeah.
yeah, that's
The
odd.
Stones,
It's
Jagger.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny
Yeah.
too. I was listening to another podcast, and they were talking about seeing aging rockers like Angus,
Yeah. Yeah.
how it affects their view of them. is directly related to how they were in the past. So if you were Lou Reed, you could be playing at 100 years old. It wouldn't affect because he didn't jump around in a uniform and like duck walk
Yeah.
and do little spins on the ground or do
Yeah.
the whole like shirtless, thing like Jagger does. And um,
Yeah.
that's perception. But of course, you would not want them to change anything if they could look forward and say, "What am I going to look like doing this when I'm 80 years old?" No,
Yeah.
that should,
Well,
yeah,
I think, yeah. I mean, if you look at Jagger when he was young, this sort of rock and roll, almost weirdly beautiful chap. And Keith Richards has only gone better with the benefit of time, to be honest with you, because he looked like someone had stuck him in a blender. Now he just looks like a leather bag that's been stuck in a blender, but he's still going. But it was funny. I think we should finish on this because we've got just a couple of minutes left. But there was Justin Hawkins from the Darkness. They toured with the Stones. Played with the Stones. We met Mick Jagger anyway. And it was like a brief point between Mick Jagger being on the stage and Mick Jagger running from the stage to his running machine, which is pretty much where he lives his entire life, just to maintain being Mick fucking Jagger. So, I think Keith took the fucking right way. I really do. Yeah, fine. That'll do. I'll have some of that, thank you. Yeah, isn't it funny? But yeah, so in conclusion, and this is as far as we'll get, I think, tonight, or this morning, sorry, chaps. Yeah, so Tom's gay for Striper. What else happened?
That too.
Yeah. Aren't we all? Yeah, so I think we've cleared all that up. What made us want to be a musician? What made us want to be a musician? It was definitely not glam metal.
No.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, we've got.
I think I think brotherhoods, and if I had to just put it in a couple of words, it was being part of something bigger than yourself.
Being part of something bigger than yourself, absolutely.
For sure.
And I think we're all very grateful that we found that earlier on in life.
Yes.
Very, very lucky for it. Yeah. Although it's been a strange mistress to go all Alan Partridge for a second, but I'm still grateful for the fact that I found that stuff.
You have been watching and listening to the Satellite Trampoline 3 podcast. Thank you for your company. Catch us next time.